Hello, welcome back to the 78-day Tarot Challenge. This is where I go on the Fool's journey from the Fool to the world, embodying every single card, one card a day, for 78 days, to apply the teachings, the archetypes, and the aspects to my internal and external experience for just to see what happens, see what happens instead of doing a half-assed reading every now and then, instead of gaslighting myself every day, telling myself what I want to hear, or going online and listening to a bunch of readings that tell me everything's going to be alright. Instead, I can rework this tool and use it to my benefit to the best of my ability and unleash the full potential of the Fool's journey and go through all the archetypes of self, learn about myself and others, and how to just have a journey. But that's exactly what we're doing. We're learning. Learning and applying tarot as to life, to have a lived experience, not a bunch of passive consumption. Anyway, so today's card obviously is the Empress, and it has taken me a couple days to try to work with this energy or this archetype, and I've been severely lacking, I guess, for the past 10 years in this kind of aspect, kind of neglecting myself. And so when we think of the Empress, when it comes up, usually it means, for me, it's all about nourishment, mothering yourself, motherhood. This is obviously divine feminine, and so that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But I think the most important thing is growth, like taking care of yourself, prioritizing yourself. What are your needs? What do you, instead of pushing your body, and then when we think of like masculine, we think of action and, active versus passive, right? So receiving rather than giving, or, doing versus being, not doing. just being able to exist. Attraction versus I guess that doesn't really work, but the point is, as I've been learning how to apply this in my life, is pretty difficult for me, like to take care of myself, prioritize myself, by very, very simple things, like how much am I breathing, how much am I drinking water, how much am I taking care of my body, how much am I taking care of my mind. Why don't I, instead of thinking and analyzing all the time, why don't I give it a rest? Why don't I chill out and not think for a minute and just observe and be? How can I be more grateful? How can I notice what is already growing? What am I nourishing in my life? Am I nourishing, my discipline? Am I nourishing my YouTube channel? Am I nourishing my body? Like, what things am I mothering, taking care of? We can take care of business and say that it's divine feminine, but that's, another trick of this world, is that we've become so dominant. It doesn't matter if you're man or woman, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Most of our society, especially in Western culture, it's all masculine. There's no time for taking care of yourself, taking a break. You have to get business done. You have to get shit done. You have to get up and go. Stop being a lazy guy. What are you doing, you know? What are you doing with your life? You're not making any money. You're not, what, blah, 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 blah. What, you know, and everything's dominated by technology and social media and logic and all of these masculine qualities. It's just like kind of out of balance, and there has to be a balance. We can't just go all the way into passivity, and it seems like oftentimes the pendulum swings back and forth between these two things, and we don't want it to swing back too extreme, because then we fall into nothing, too much of nothing, or too much of feminine qualities, I guess you could say, because we can't really just sit back. A lot of people think, of the Empress, they might say, you just sit back and receive, and you get everything done for you, everything's taken care of for you, and you attract everything to you. There needs to be a balance within, internally, of like these two archetypes, the Emperor and the Empress, because you can command and control all you want, but this commanding, controlling thing is like what created a lot of our unbalanced dynamics in our society today. And so internally and externally, right, like if the outside world is a reflection of your internal experience and your perception of it, that kind of shapes it, and then that plays out on a bigger scale throughout these patterns of groups of people, politics, religion, science, everything, Oftentimes science, even like, our world is dominated by masculine way of thinking or doing. And so therefore that's why we have science. It's straight up logic. Science, the scientific method over the past couple hundred years, has dominated our way of being, and kind of, it's like that objective view of, physical reality is all there is, and A equals 2 + 2 = 4, and that's just how it is. There is no intuitive aspect to it. And so then we, disregard the intuitive, the unseen, the non-physical. And so these are how it plays out internally and externally, right? And that's why we have science that dominates a lot of our conditioning of the way we're expected to see the world. And if you don't see the world that way, it's like, well, what are you doing? You're worthless, because you're not contributing to society in this manner, and you're not in agreement. And so then, but we need to have a balance. So there's a like I said, the pendulum swings back to the other way, and it's all non-physical, a bunch of nonsense, and it's like you can't make sense out of intuition when it's personal too. Other people can't relate to your intuition or your expression of it if you don't have a balanced logical explanation as to why your intuition means what it means. So it's like also with the science thing, it's like the Big Bang, and all of that. People often rebel against these ideas. I mean, that's just one perspective, one way of looking at explaining the world. We can also explain it from a spiritual lens, in whatever way that shows up. Could be in all kinds of different ways that it could be explained, especially in New Age spirituality or whatever. It's just, it gets out of balance that way too. So when we're fighting back, we need to integrate both to work together, because it kind of, there's a balance between the polarities. I often say that, Earth is a sweet spot. I reference temperature a lot, because this analogy of temperature is the best thing you could really do when it comes to balance and relativity, because it's all relative. It's not that anything is objectively, right or wrong. It's just relative to your perspective, where you're standing on it. So the fact that, we live in a sweet spot where life can thrive, it's not too hot, but it's not too cold. And if it was extreme in one other way, life would not thrive as well as it does, because we're in that sweet spot perfectly right in the middle. And so you can correlate that to any polarity that you find, whether it's man, woman, dark, light, cold, hot, and you can go on and on and on with these polarities, whatever, and you can explain it pretty much in any way you want. Just use your brain to think and see the patterns throughout reality, I guess. And so the point is, we need to have balance. It's just like with I explained this with the High Priestess, but it's kind of the same thing, except this time it's more about nourishment, taking care of my body, taking care of, like, what am I eating? I need to get enough protein lately. Here's the practical stuff. I needed to really take care of myself. I needed to make sure that I had enough money. I needed to make sure that I have enough food throughout the day, make sure I needed to have enough water. I've been noticing that I haven't had enough protein, and then I started kind of exercising, so making sure that I also rest in between periods of exercising, because my tendons, when you're running, it's really hard on your tendons. Your tendons take a lot longer to repair than your muscles. Your muscles might be repaired, but then your tendons, they kind of need to be stretched, and so like doing yoga or stretching and breathing more, being present with nature, noticing the abundance. Also, the other theme is abundance. Like the Empress is very, very abundant because she is appreciative and grateful, but also nourishes and grows things. So when we're growing, whether it's aspects of ourselves or growing maybe an actual plant, that actually gives us fruit that feeds our body, which is like in turn a cycle of nourishment and growth and taking care and nurturing. When you nurture a plant, you're taking care of it, you're mothering it just like you would yourself. And you have to be able to do that for yourself, whether you're a man or a woman or whatever you'd like to consider yourself. I mean, so that's very, very important. And I've been trying to practice this over the past 3 days. This card turned into 3 days because I wasn't getting enough rest, and I was trying to force the video. And also, like, how am I growing this challenge to be like, how am I taking care of it and actually doing it justice, and not just thinking through and being only analytical, instead, like, being more intuitive and letting it flow and making it feel more natural. And also, like, my relationship with nature has changed over the past couple of days. I mean, I really do appreciate nature. I love living in nature. I don't necessarily like being in town or in the city. I would rather really live out in the woods, surrounded by trees and abundance that is just naturally available, that the earth, provides for me, and noticing the abundance that is just naturally already there, ready for you. That's what our relationship with earth, is very important. And I often say, I'm not homeless. People like to say, just in modern society, if you don't have a home, something's fucking wrong with you, and judging you for being lazy and not wanting to participate. But I often say, it's like that one guy, I don't know who said it, it's not my quote, but you know who it is, you can look it up. It's no measure of sanity to be profound. It's no measure of sanity to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. I don't know if that's George Orwell or not, but that is very true. And just because you're not well adjusted and you don't want to participate, you automatically become kind of a target. Like, you're lazy and you don't want to participate, but that's very representative of how there's too much masculine energy and being projected onto other people, for actually taking care of myself and slowing down and and having a relationship with nature, and getting more in touch with myself, and being quiet and not running around like a madman with a chicken, like with your head cut off, just doing whatever you can to fit into this profoundly sick society. I mean, come on. So I don't care about the judgments, but it wears down on you over time. Like, can't you guys see the other side of this, and where, and trying to listen to other people's perspective rather than project straight onto them, judge them first, and then make up your mind and then treat them like shit because you can't understand why they would do that, and that's a problem. For me, that's what I've experienced. Just because I didn't choose to be homeless. The earth is my home. I can go anywhere on the earth just because of bureaucratic dynamics and implications and circumstances. It makes it very difficult, but naturally humans over time have always lived on different places on earth. Before we started farming as humans, we would just hunt and gather and be nomads and run around and do stuff. Like the females would gather, the males would hunt. I mean, there was a perfect balance, you could say. And you flow with the seasons to different places on earth, or the land that you occupy, or you have a relationship with the land, whether it's like Native American practices or just any culture from even Hawaiian culture, like the way that they lived, it's always an intuitive spiritual connection with the land, the earth, and the respect. And but then there was like also kind of more of a balance. And so when it came to, I guess, hunting and fishing and whatnot, but still you would be appreciative and grateful that these animals, the Native Americans would practice using every single part to not waste it, and to respect it, and to be appreciative of nature, because we're a part of nature. We don't need to fight nature. And because of this dominant masculine view of the world, not that it's saying that being masculine is bad. I'm a man. I'm not ashamed of saying these things as a guy. I'm just saying that it's like we need to have a balance of the two. And so because of this, and our view of like science has dominated how we see the world, it's like, well, we have to fight against nature, and that's why we don't have a relationship with Earth anymore. And so I'm not freaking homeless, man. I have a home. It's called Earth, but because of bureaucracy, I get a ticket for living on Earth. It's kind of bizarre, man. What kind of world do we find ourselves in? And how can we change this? How can we have a better relationship with the earth and stop raping it and taking and not respecting and wasting and consumerism? And I think there's a lot of benefits to capitalist society, but also there's a lot of downfalls, because there's good and bad with anything that you do. It's just oftentimes we get that pendulum and we're like, this is bad, and we only want to look at everything that's bad about it once we realize that. But there are some benefits. Anyway, so there are some benefits to capitalist society, like the innovation that it breeds. When we have this competition between pricing and people, the incentive to make money, and the reward systems that we do have, it inspires action and innovation when we have competition between companies. But then the monopolies get involved, and then it becomes corporations, and then it becomes too much profiteering and not enough intention into taking care of like actually making a good product. And so that's how it can become out of balance, as we start getting a little bit off track to what we first and originally had intended, or whatever. I don't really know. You can get really, but I think that's also why people get a lot of very polarized to they get on one side and they're like, screw the other side. But they're, like I said, like temperature, it's relative. We need to have a balance of some of these things. So like, and then we're not really being human. We're just talking about money and trying to, oh, this is the way the world is, you know, there's only science and da 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 da. There's only the scientific view of the world, and then you have, like, you know, just an unbalanced view of reality when you're only clinging to one side. So anyways, I'm just saying that's why it's been hard for me to integrate this stuff into my daily life, as far as being an Empress, nourishing, taking care, having my relationship with nature and abundance, and what is abundance to me and where is it already present. There's an abundance of air right now. I can breathe. Water is free. I can go get water. I can have plenty of water. Water is life, you know. Breath is life. There's infinite, you know, energy all over that, because that's all everything is. Energy expressed in infinite various forms. And it's just the way it is, and it's infinitely available. And we all have access to source, light, spirit, that connects us all, you know. That's why I like the flower of life so much. It's a representation of the ether that connects everything. That is just a fractal of itself, expressed, like I said, in many, many different forms. And so having a relationship with abundance, and noticing where I'm taking care of myself, where I'm not taking care of myself, how much I'm resting, how much am I attracting rather than chasing, how much am I taking care of my body, you know, my skin, my hair, my teeth, how am I taking care of my nourishment, like in general. What am I growing in my life? Am I growing this YouTube channel to serve me in an intuitive way, rather than just being pushed only by analytics? Because analytics is a masculine thing, you know, analyzing logically. It's all about the numbers, all about the blah blah blah. I noticed when I started doing social media recently, the past year, I was doing an experiment to see why people act the way they do, and that's why social media has become kind of destructive to a lot of our relationships, is because it's out of balance. Everybody's thinking about the analytics and how many views they got. Well, what about the value that I provided? Because it doesn't matter if you get 200,000 views on a video, if only one person actually got the meaning and the value out of it and actually changed their life, or whatever you intend to do with it, even if it's just entertainment. You know, it might be entertaining and it might be a big number, but I would much rather have 10 views that severely affected somebody in a big way that was positive, than to have 200,000 views and a bunch of people wasting their time, you know, just so I can get and suck out of them, because I'm sucking their energy, which is their attention. And just because we optimize for the analytics, we're not providing value, which is our relationship with abundance. How am I naturally already abundant and valuable? What value am I providing? What value am I growing and nourishing and taking care of, and creating more of it so I can generate, you know, more of that value? These are questions, and sometimes I have to stop talking and breathe. Stop thinking and analyzing everything, and breathe and slow down. Take a walk. Notice the trees, notice the sky, notice the rain, notice the sunshine. Be grateful, don't take things for granted. I'm not just running around bulldozing the forest saying, I need it to be this way and I want my house to be perfectly flat and blah, blah, blah. How can I work with nature and be grateful. We're not fighting against nature. We are nature. It's natural. We often think that man-made, just because it's man-made doesn't mean it's not natural. Yes, it's unnatural to the way that things are, but that's what humans naturally do. So how can we create in a way that is in tune with nature rather than fighting against it? And that would be what would be natural, but we're just out of balance as humans, is what I'm saying. So then we get this fight with nature rather than a co-creation with nature. Because we are a part of nature. I mean, you could argue we were made by aliens or whatever. Nobody really fucking knows, and it's a waste of time to talk about things that we're just arguing about shit that doesn't even matter just to keep us distracted and divided. I'm on this side, you're on that side, fuck you. You know? Men are the problem, women are the problem. If we just keep on saying that, I mean, like, how do we come together as humans? Whether it's black, white, Indian, Mexican, American, white, you know, like Japanese, just like anything we could say, oh, it's the other people that are the problem. You know, it's always the other people. What about me? What the fuck did I contribute? How am I? Is my attitude helping? Is my attitude towards women helping? That we're not, you know, birth rate is dropping significantly in Western society? Am I adding to the problem? Am I, you know, somebody used to say that I knew, used to say, you're either a part of the problem or you're part of the solution. So I want to ask you that question. Are you part of the problem or are you part of the solution? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you nourishing? What is your relationship with abundance? What are you growing in your life? Are you growing a YouTube channel? Are you growing a plant? Are you growing your confidence, your discipline? Are you growing? What are you taking care of? Are you taking care of yourself? Have you been neglecting yourself? You know, all of these questions, important questions to ask. So this is how I'm applying the energy over the past 3 days. And so since I started working at the market, I've been trying to have a balance of like active working and then passive resting, nourishing, taking care of myself, make sure I have enough protein, going for a run, breathing, swimming, taking a bath and shower and making sure that I'm clean and taken care of. You know, all of these things. You can see I'm pretty tired. I've been trying to get more sleep, but you know, it is difficult when it's constantly raining on and off and you're trying to stay dry, but you know, slow down, take it easy, take care of yourself, appreciate the abundance that's already there. So these are the qualities of the Empress. I'm going to do a reading for the next card, so we'll figure out what the next card is. Now, we're going to see what this probably is a bad angle, but I don't care what I look like. I'm just, you know, just taking care of myself. So we're not going to do the Emperor till we do 3 more minor cards. So we'll figure out what the card's going to be for tomorrow. I missed a couple days because, like I said, it's taken me some time to really integrate this stuff into my daily experience. And it's not going to be a perfect 78 days, but it's going to be 78 videos. So, I mean, if I can keep up with the pace, it should be done by October. So, anyways, not that that's relevant to you if you're watching. Really, I'm doing this for myself and to inspire other people to change and work with the tool in a better way, because tools can destroy your mental health or they can help, you know, and this is one of those psychological, introspective, reflective tools, archetypes, or any form of system that we use. You know, it's like psychology or Jungian psychology, or it's all, or tarot. You know, they're all tools, ways of seeing, systems, ways of it's a tool that is inherently a system of seeing things, right? But anyway, so yeah, I hope it's not a bad angle. Let's do, so we could get the Three of Wands, Four of Swords, Three of Wands, Four of Swords. Was I on the Three of Pentacles or the Two of Cups? So what's gonna be coming up in the reading today for the next card tomorrow? I don't know. Let's see. We'll just relate the reading to what's going on right now. Oh, Nine of Cups. Emotional fulfillment. So, really being... Oh, shit. Eight of Wands. Nine of Cups, Eight of Wands. Oh, shit. Okay. Queen of Cups. Ten of Swords. Shoot. Yeah. Queen of Swords and Four of Wands. So, really I've been working on making sure that, putting myself first when it comes to the Empress. Like, I've been trying to make sure that I've, where am I getting emotional fulfillment? Because I can work, and make all this money. I can make $3,000 a week driving a truck, but if I'm not emotionally fulfilled, then none of that means anything. The money doesn't mean anything if I don't actually feel good about it. I've been expressing and communicating very rapidly my honest perspective on fulfillment and how my relationship with cups in general, the cups, especially when I was talking about the Ace of Cups, you know, that's where it all starts. It begins with just a little bit of fulfillment pouring into myself, so then I can overflow into the other cups, which the second cup, two cups, meaning that I can overflow and give to somebody else because I have been pouring into myself enough in order for it to overflow onto others. So I don't know what... I've been trying to communicate with a lot of people about this, and when it comes to the Queen of Cups, really, it's been rough trying to really listen to my intuition and take care of it and follow that rather than trusting everybody else and just like I said, being overactive masculine and disregarding my intuition and pushing my feelings down. Instead, letting my feelings come up, notice them, be aware of how my intuition is, valuable, and not just dismissing it. So when it comes to the Ten of Swords popping up like that, it's like I used to shove my feelings down, and a lot of men do. This is why it's been imbalanced, and now you have a lot of emotional men. It's just viewed as, you're a man, you shouldn't be emotional. It's bullshit. Everybody has both aspects. They need to work with each other. It's not wrong for a man to be emotional. We have feelings too. So that's the end of my relationship with myself, as far as neglecting my intuition and my emotions. And so, boundaries. cutting that shit out. People are not going to appreciate or value or try to understand my intuition. It's my home. My body is my home. My earth is my home. This is like the marriage between the two. Nurturing, as well as like, so this expansive emotional fulfillment and gathering the intuition and the emotions and feeling them and taking care of them, but then also having boundaries of like, I gotta protect that. So this is the feminine, like, I'm not accepting that shit. Nope. Being selective. A woman doesn't just accept everything. She's going to cut that shit out that's not going to appreciate the value that is. So then the marriage between the man and the woman internally is inside my body, is my home. And then when I cultivate that on a foundational level, very basic, simple, fundamental level, then it shows up externally as my home, as in my, relationship with the earth, and perhaps maybe relationship with another person, right? But anyway, so 4 of Wands. We haven't done the 3 of Wands yet, so none of these have showed up yet. 4 of Pentacles. Yeah, this reading's kind of devolving into a bunch of random nonsense, but I guess I'll do another reading later on to see what comes up, or I could just keep on pulling cards until one of them pops out. 3 of Pentacles, there we go. Okay, so I guess it's 3 of Pentacles, King of Cups. Yeah, this is... Yeah. 4 of Pentacles, being very attached to holding on, being stubborn, being not budging. I'm not budging on the way that I see, and I'm gonna take care of myself. People try to convince me and get me out of that, but this is how like if I was talking about a community or people working together, this is how, like, I could be stubborn in ways, but this is how I'm working with. I want to bring that to a community where we can all show up honestly and be self-aware, and I'm not budging on that at all. Like, my view is my view, and I know it's valuable, and therefore I'm not going to, when it comes to Queen of Swords, I'm gonna cut out the shit that's not appreciating me, and things like that, right? And nurturing the relationship with myself and the home within. So, and then we got the King of Cups too. So Queen of Cups, King of Cups. Masculine qualities of emotional fulfillment, being secure in my emotion, knowing exactly how I feel, not afraid to say it how it is, not afraid to be vulnerable, because I know I can listen to myself, and and I know where I stand, and I know how I feel, and I'm not afraid to show it, and I'm not budging on any of that shit. I'm not budging. I know what my value is. Yeah, I might be stubborn, and I need to open up and listen to others, but this is how I'm leading the way, and I want to bring this and integrate this into the community that I'm actually trying to get involved with now. So anyways, that's it for today. So we'll see what happens as I integrate the 3 of Pentacles into the community over the next day or so, today and tomorrow, and I'll probably come back and record and document my insights as stuff unfolds. So thank you for being here. I would challenge you to start your own challenge, do it, structure it how you want it, and just go through the journey of the Fool. and see what comes up in your life and how you can work with this powerful tool to it's a really good way to learn the cards, and you just look up the meaning and you practice that meaning for the day, and you go through it and you see where it shows up as well as where you want to apply it, internally and externally. And so I challenge you to do that, and I'd love to see your videos. Let me know that you're going to do the challenge. You don't have to document it on video on YouTube, but it would be beneficial to go back and watch it and have a record of what you learned, so you can easily apply it in the future, and you develop a relationship with each card in a very deep way because you lived it. You had a life to experience it, and it creates memories, and it's just a good way to have a journey, have an adventure, see what happens. So I challenge you to become the fool and go on the journey. So anyway, let me know if you do that, and I guess I'll see you later. Have fun.